West Enders.
West End, the best end, baby. 4101 for the we in here. Have you ever been on a date with a real-life human being that wasn't related to you? Maybe that date didn't call you back. Maybe you're not as charismatic as you once thought. Maybe you were Tinder date number 4 and you didn't even make the top 3 for the week. I'm really sorry to hear that if that's the case. Maybe you need to inject the magic of magic itself into the date. Here to show us 3 magic tricks to get the chicks or to get the dicks, whatever your preference. I mean, is gender even a thing anymore? I don't know. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Josh Norbito.
Crazy! Josh Norbito, ladies and gentlemen!
Oh, thank you, audience. Hey, man, you're making the big bucks. You've got a live studio audience. I appreciate everyone coming in here today.
It's busy. It's busy out here.
Great to be
Keep
here.
that front row under control. Josh, we're at dinner. Things are going well.
We are.
We've had some hand contact, maybe a little eye contact. Can we touch in this heated COVID moment?
I think so.
I'm running out of steam at this point, and I want to spark the date up a little bit. Can you give us some pointers on simple magic tricks that we can do to excite things up a little?
Yeah, look, I thought that this would be fun to come on here and show you some things you can maybe do in that environment with things that might be around you at your disposal. But it does come with a warning, okay? You can't just use magic and rely that solely to get the attention of the person in front of you. You do have to then back it up with some personality. Or
that's the tough bit.
You end up in the whole of a relationship that consists basically on doing magic tricks all the time to impress them.
Yeah, that
can be a little
gig.
straining.
Just non-stop magic tricks. only communicating by magic would be quite challenging.
All right, so trick number 1. Now, this is something that uses a borrowed object, all right? So it's very common that the person on the date will have some jewelry on them, and in which case we're going to use a ring. I noticed you have a ring on already, which is perfect. Perfect. You might even just have one on yourself. Now, this is a very simple but effective illusion. I'll show you what it looks like first, and then we'll get into the workings of it. So you would take their ring, ideally, and you would say, watch the ring. I'm going to have it levitate up the string. And if you watch closely, you'll notice...
Okay, that's witchcraft.
It moves ever so slightly up the ring. Now, in a less aircon room, this might work even more fluid, but I'm going to give it just another go just to show you what it can really look like. So you have it on the string, you really concentrate, and then it slowly levitates up the string. Now, super easy to do. It's great if you can borrow their ring because they'll know there's nothing funny about it.
Yeah.
But I will tend to have one on me just in case. Now, I'll give you one as well. Maybe you can try and learn this at the same time.
Sure.
So all you need to keep on you is a rubber band. Mm-hmm. Now, what I say when I talk about this is I refer to it as a string, so people don't start to think about how a rubber band works. So I just call it a string.
But how do you do it?
But the secret is that you are stretching out, essentially you are stretching out this rubber band, so there's heaps of rubber band in your hand. And as you release the tension, it starts to contract, which actually just pulls the ring to stay on that same part, but now it's getting retracted. So
you're only pulling up just a little bit. You're only stretching like the end little bit of that rubber band.
Yeah, so what you need to do is bunch up the rubber band in your hand till you get right near the end. Then you put the ring on. So I'm really only putting it on like this much, like it's almost nothing. Then you pull it out as long as you can get, and you want it you don't want to go like this, okay? You want to find that angle that it grips nicely on. Now, a lot of rings, especially girls' rings, are much smaller, and they will grip way easier. This is a pretty heavier ring, but just by going on that kind of 45-degree angle, as I slowly release the tension between my index and thumb, it will start to pull the ring back. But the illusion is you don't notice the rubber band moving. So it just looks like the ring is moving. There you go. Look at that.
Boom.
If you weren't married, you'd be picking up chicks, no problem.
Exactly right.
Now, with this, comes a few things, okay? Make sure you practice this. Do not watch this video and go, yep, I'm going to do that, and just take a rubber band. Don't let the practicing be the performance. So really give it the time it deserves, because you're going to lose that cool factor if you
stuff it up.
It
I
properly.
think people don't realize that, like, you need to practice a magic trick, even if it's just 4 or 5 times. Absolutely nail it so that it is effortless when you're doing it.
The rule of thumb is don't practice it till you get it right. Practice it till you can't get it wrong.
What I'm interested in is how you can get to the point of weaving magic into the day, because you can't just be like, I'll have the fish of the day, thanks, pick a card.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so I mean, I guess you have to, like, that's in your character, you're going to have to work out how to smooth that in.
So what you could say is, wow, that's a really lovely ring. Is that one of those magical rings? And they're like, what do you mean? I'll be like, well, let me show you. Let me do the test.
Brilliant,
okay?
brilliant. Genius. Magic trick number 2.
Number 2. All right. So number 2, this is a nice way if you bring out your driver's license or a credit card or even a business card. You could use this in a business situation as well. So you would take the card. Now I'll do this so that the viewers see a great angle of this. And then I'll explain what it is meant to look like magically for you. So you take the card, you go watch, check it out. You give it a second and you can give it the illusion of levitation like this. Just for a second, and then you give it back to them.
What in God's name just happened?
Okay, I'm glad that looked magical for you because you're on an interesting angle there.
Are you messing with gravity now?
That's exactly where we would take this conversation, and I would say, next I'll levitate you, whatever wherever you take it.
But how do you do it?
Here's what's happening. Now, first of all, once I show you the explanation, remember how it felt when you first saw this, okay? Because once I show you, you're gonna lose that magic moment now. Every time you see it, you're gonna know how it's working. So just remember how it felt when you first saw it, because that's how people are gonna see it for the first time. Now, so it looks like the card is floating, and I'm gonna reveal the secret in 3, 2, 1, boom.
Son of a...
It's so easy, but people know you can hold a card like this, but they don't know you can hold a card like this. They forget about the edges. But don't run away just yet. There's a few things you need to know. So your thumbs are holding the sides. What's important is that your fingers are closed, not like this. If they're open, they can see it. Okay, so your fingers are closed. Now you start by holding the card like this. So you first start like this, then I guess I should do it like this way. So you start like this, then you bring your thumbs to the side like that. This is without them seeing. And then you slowly start to animate your thumbs, just going up and down. And you slowly start to move either your thumbs back or these fingers forward, just to give that depth illusion of it really floating out of your control. And you can start to get tricky with it by moving your hand up and then moving your thumb after it. And then to finish, what I do to end it is I always pretend like I'm reaching out and grabbing it as if it was about to float away. And I'm literally just pushing it forward and just doing this. So that way, after you've done it, I'll just leave that there. You can then hand it to them and get them to check it out and
make sure it's not an anti-gravity card.
Exactly.
Trick numero 3.
Ich Nissan. 3. You're at a bar. There's nothing around you. They don't have a ring on. There's nothing to do a party trick with, but there are straws. You're going to take 2 straws, and this one is interactive because you're actually going to get your date involved on the effect. So you're going to take them out. Now, these ones are pre-wrapped for your protection, but normally they would just be chilling there. So this is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to wrap the straw around the other straw. Then I'm going to give this to my date and get them to hold each end of this straw here.
Can I be your date, Josh? And I'll be there?
Please do. So hold the ends there. Perfect. Then I'm going to double wrap this. Double wrap. I'm going to come around here and
that doesn't work. I've got 2 kids. Go on.
Okay, so now they're wrapped. And under the cover and a bit of luck and melting the
Oh my
straws
gosh!
through, it will melt through the straw, but completely still intact.
200 years ago, they would have burnt you at the stake.
I'm very lucky.
You're lucky it's 2021.
Scram, wizard! What? You heard me!
What just happened? Did you just bend the fabric of space-time?
Pretty much.
But how do you do it?
Now again, simple. You're going to learn it. You're going to be like, oh, of course. But remember how you felt when you saw this. It's fantastic. So here's what you need to know. Now, the straw, one's going to go vertically, one's going to go horizontally. The straw that is vertical starts in front of the other one. Then the bottom of the straw is coming up and wrapping around once. Then you get them to hold either end. So Julius, if you hold either end again. Now what's actually happening is by me wrapping this end around, I'm essentially unwrapping the original wrap. That's the secret. So I can see that this straw, if it goes over this way, it's going to unwrap. So what happens is the left side of the straw that is horizontal is going to go around, but it's going around and over itself. You're not wrapping it underneath, you're wrapping it over. And what you want to do is you want to wrap it around once, and you can already see it comes off, and then another half. And because we've already used this straw, it was already pre-unhooking itself, but what will happen is it will stay there. And then you could just pull it straight off, but I like to kind of put my hand there as if I'm like kind of massaging the plastic to kind of melt it through, and then it will just pop through.
It could have the opposite effect. They might think you're a witch and run away. Yeah, they might think you're a wizard.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Exactly right.
Absolutely.
Josh Norbito, I feel empowered. I feel a little bit of magic in the air, and I think there's going to be some successful dates, maybe some children conceived because of what you've taught us today. Thanks for coming on the show, my man.
My pleasure.
West Enders.